नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं चैव ततो जयो मुदीरये। व्यासाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मविद्याय वसिष्ठाय नमो नमः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। सदाशिवसमारम्भं शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमम् अस्मात् आचार्यपर्यन्तं वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव। ॐ नमः श्री भगवते स्वामी प्रणवानन्दाय नमो नमः। Namaskar to everybody. We will continue our discussion on Narada Bhakti Sutra. Last session we discussed some of the very beautiful sutras of this particular the book. But today we will continue that subject again. And today we'll be doing the first sutra will be sutra number 72. So sutra number 72 of Narad Bhakti Sutra. Bhaktas above caste and creed. That's the topic today. So I'm reading the verse number, the sutra number 72. Om Nasti Tesu Jati Vidyam Nasti Tesu Jati Vidyam रूप कुल धन क्रियादि भेदः नास्ति तेषु जाति विद्या नास्ति तेषु जाति विद्या रूप कुल धनादि क्रियादि भेदः. So nasti tesu jati vidya rupa kulo dhano kriyadi vedaha. So that is the sutra number 72. Among the devotees, there is no distinction based on caste, learning, beauty, family or birth, wealth, observance or profession and the like. Nasti teshu jati vidya. The devotees have only one, they are known by one identity. That is, they are the bhakta of the Bhagavan. They are the devotee of the Lord. Nasti teshu jati. This is a very big topic. You know, when you say jati, we could open this discussion first, bringing the division of the people back in India first. Let me go there first. Since Narad Bhakti Sutra was created by Saint Narad, holy soil of Mother India, so let us travel to India for the first, and then we will see around the world. We see in India the division of the among the people. There was a time Indian community was divided into four divisions, which is known as Brahmin or Brahman, and second was Kshatriya, third was Vaishya, and fourth was Shudra. So the Brahman means highly educated people. Brahme vicharati iti brahmanaha. Brahme vicharati iti brahmanaha. People whose mind dwell after the supreme Brahman. People whose mind dwell on the beauties or glories and greatness of the Lord, they are known as Brahman. But as we see the history of India, we see the kind of, how I will put the word, it was misused or manipulated some places. And though there was thousands of good quality people, those who dedicated their life in educating the society, helping the people to lift them up from their darkness, utter darkness. But then there was manipulation also. And then we see the second, the division of the people is known as Kshatriya. They are the, like how we see the army people, army, and then security people, those who protect the border of the country, maintain laws and order inside the country, and correction officers, all this known as police officer, and armies in three division, in air force, in the navy, and the ground force, all together we call Kshatriya. So they were the protector of the laws and the border of the country. And there was Vaishya community known for to business and cultivation, farming the land. The Vaishya community increased the wealth and the other thing. So the Vaishya community, their work was to cultivate land, farming, and do business. And there was Shudra community, they used to do the manual work. But unfortunately, and then Lord Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita that by doing their own duty perfectly, and all this community reach at the feet of the Lord. But practically what we see in the society, that whom we call Shudras, they are being neglected, they remain poor, they have lack of facility for education, they live in a very kind of poor situation, lack of water, medical facilities, and they are being looked as a down. And then the missionaries from other faith also took this opportunity. They are being converted to them and misguided them, and it brought a big kind of disturbance in our society. So that is one form of jati, or division of the jati. Then other form of jati, like for example, then beyond the Shudras, there was people like those who used to do, like say, shoemaking people. And kind of people we call chamar kind of people, and they are being looked very down. And the Swamiji, the Swami Pranavanandaji Maharaj, and once he was traveling, he made a big boat named called Kandari boat, because he was working that time in the eastern part of Bengal. An eastern part of Bengal, which is presently known as Bangladesh. It was full of water, rivers, canals. So Guruji make a big boat named Kandari. Around 100 monks can accommodate, and they used to go village to villages, and there was prayer hall, and like how I say, kind of moving temple. And then, so while Guruji used to travel all these villages, looking at the condition of the people, so Guruji said that the Bharat Sevashram, we should do something for these people because you could see their situation. They don't have anything, no electricity, no medical facility, no kind of educational facility. These people living in darkness, they are being looked very down. And so this is how community was divided. And then if we come out of India, I'm just discussing the topic of Jati Veda. If you come out of India, we are the Asian, our color, we look like Asian people, like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. We look some kind. And then if you go to China, Japan, Indonesia, Korea, they look different from us. Then there is European people, they look different. And if you go to the South America, they also look different. And then if we travel to African countries, and they also look. So now, if you look around the world, if we are very honest and very truthful, and we open the mouth and rightfully, and we see because of our appearance, sometimes people are being looked down. And then there is every citizen of this world, wherever they are being born, they are proud of their motherland. Like how we Indian people born in India, we are proud of our motherland, our past culture. Similarly, people born in another nation, say for example, somebody born in South Africa, somebody born in Uganda, or somebody born in Brazil, somebody born in United States, or somebody born in Belgium or England. They are proud of their motherland also. They born there, they grow up there, they took the first, they saw the first sunlight there, so they love their motherland. But if we see around the world, if we how people in the name of religion and spirituality, we divided the entire world. The same planet we are living, same sky we are sharing, same air we are sharing, and we are in the same planet Earth. But how we divided ourselves in the name of the faith, in the name of the religion, and then there is so much of the bloodshed also, people fight. Here in this particular sutra, Saint Narad says, Nasti Teshu Jati. Devotees they don't have this division of Jati. They are one community. They are the Bhakta. They are the devotee of the Lord. For example, here, Narad, Saint Narad, who gave this particular book. If you remember the first day, I was giving a background of the Saint Narad. Saint Narad was born from a Brahmin father and a Shudra woman of that time. But he never saw his father. It's like he abandoned. And Narad's mother used to work people home, what we call in this country maid. He used to go to people home, clean their home, cook for them, clean their clothes, like working in people home. Morning time she used to go, evening time she used to come. That's how somehow she nourished Narad. So Narad was, he really did not know who was his father. Then we have Savari. If you remember the story of the epic Ramayana, Savari was born in she never went to school, very poor family. But so Saint Narad born in that kind of family, a Brahmin father and mother came from other community. But Saint Narad became the foremost devotee of Sri Vishnu. Savari never went to school. Because Savari stayed in a monastery, most of the monks left that monastery because they did not like the idea how Savari born in that kind of family is going to stay in the ashram or come to ashram. But Savari was so fortunate that in this human life, she saw Lord Rama by her own eyes. So Shabari was born in a kind of thing. Dhruva, if you remember the Dhruva story, he was uneducated. He was little. Then he left for forest, and he met Lord Sri Vishnu. And then, if you remember, Vidura, maybe when time come, I will be reading that book also, Vidur Niti, the teachings of Vidura. That's a unique book, another one. And maybe one time I will start that book also. So if you remember Vidur, her mother also used to work in the Hastinapur kingdom as a maid, but Vidur became a well-known saint. So I'm giving some of the example. Even Vishwamitra, Vyasa, Kavasa, Javala, and Mohidasa, they are born, kind of not like that kind of family, but they all become well-known. Why they become well-known? Because they are the Bhakta of the Bhagavan. Banamali, Khanashyam, Pitava, Manohara. They close their eyes, they could see that Banamali, that Bhagavan Lord, wearing that garland with the peacock feather, holding his flute in his hand, standing under a tamal tree with his beautiful appearance. And so these devotees, they kind of could meditate on the beautiful appearance or divine appearance of the heavenly appearance of Lord Sri Krishna. That's how they become immortal. Could imagine Gajendra was an elephant. Gajendra is basically an elephant. And meet Lord Sri Vishnu. Every Hindu temple you go, you see the Hanumanji. People read Hanuman Chalisa, 40 kind of doha or sloka or glorification of Lord Hanumanji. But how Hanumanji look like? If you come to our temple, you'll see Hanumanji Murti at the feet of the Lord Rama. How he looked like. So, but Hanumanji become one of the image of the idol in the Bhakti school. People wish that how Hanumanji meet Rama and dedicated his entire life in the work of Lord Rama. So that we cannot imagine even what Hanumanji achieved in his life in the name of Lord Rama. That is kind of beyond of our imagination. Even we cannot dream it in our dream. So you could see there is so much of example. I'm sure in all over the world, people believe in the faith of Christianity, Jewish religion, Muslim religion, Buddha religion, Sikh religion. There are so many saints and prophets and holy men born. Maybe nobody see their caste, which family they came, what kind of jati, nationality. They don't see that. They see them as a bhakta. And if you remember last week, I was mentioning in this coronavirus environment, we really needed that kind of bhakta. We needed that kind of one bhakta. One bhakta can bring a kind of waves of devotion throughout the world, can remove the fear from the mind of the people. And if one bhakta come, he could bring a kind of unstoppable flood of devotion all over the world. So people can conquer all the fear of this sickness, dominated by their strong willpower. Forget of the medicine. Medicine doctor give. But if I do not want to cure myself, what that medicine will do? If I live a negative way, if I think negative way, if I afraid, fearful, if I lose my self-confidence, that willpower, how medicine will cure me? Of course, things has effect, medicine will help, but it need our willpower or wish, strong wish, desire to come out of this fear and look forward for a bright future. We need to see in a very positive way, hope way, that good days are coming ahead. We needed that kind of bhakta who will, kind of rouse or help people to develop that kind of bhakti in them. And they will, instead of thinking, reading newspaper or looking at the TV everywhere, hearing how many people are affected around the world, instead of spending time that way, we'll raise our hand together all around the world and chant the name of the God. We will glorification of the God. We will think that the beauty of the Lord. Yes, Lord Vishnu is the protector of this world. He is there protecting us. He is there. His blessings is always there for us. So in conclusion, Nasti Teshu Jati. Bhaktas or devotees has no jati. We cannot divide them. Bhaktas has one identity. They are devotee. They are bhakta. Nasti Teshu Jati Vidya. Could imagine in this world, people, not everybody, I know, not everybody, that sometimes the educated people look at the people who got less opportunity. Like, for example, I'm giving an example. Say, people, children living in this country, in the United States, so they're getting opportunity to go to the Harvard, they're going to the Stanford, they're going to the Princeton University, Columbia University, Dartmouth University, or some, famous universities. They're getting opportunities in Rutgers University. But you could imagine around the world, if we go out, if you take a tour around the world, there are places has so much less opportunity that, but then education, vidya dadati vinaya. Education supposed to give us humility, vinaya, humbleness. Like, for example, a tree full of flower and fruit, its branches are always bended because of the weight, heavy weight of the flower and fruit. So flower and fruit is compared with the education. So because a highly educated person is very humble, very polite. बड़ा हुआ तो क्या हुआ जैसे पेड़ खजूर, पंछी को छाया नहीं फल लगे होती दूर. We have a big, card, your visiting card full of a degree. बड़ा हुआ तो क्या हुआ? Like a date tree, big. But we don't give any shadow to the, the travelers on the road. And there is no fruit even. So, Vidya, the devotees are again, imagine how the people in Vrindavan, we call Gopi and Gopinis, the women of Vrindavan, think of them. They never went to school. They don't know how to read and write. They did not have any time to do all those things because taking care of the family things, family affairs, it was full-time job. They did not get time for their own. But they loved their Krishna so much. And so in their wakefulness, in their dream, in their sleep, in their every incoming, outgoing breath, they smell Krishna, they see Krishna, they feel the touch of Krishna. Wherever their eyes went, they see their Bhagavan Lord Krishna. So these people were, so devotees are devotees. Bhakta Dhruva, Bhakta Prahlad. There is so many around that. If we go to the, maybe because we don't go, if we go to the a synagogue or a mosque or in a Christian church or any the Buddhist monastery or in a Sikh temple, you will see that the way people praying, sometimes tears coming from their eyes. They love their Lord. They love their, they love their Lord. They silently offering their prayers to the feet of the Lord, their own way, in their own language. And people, nobody asks them what kind of qualification, which degree they have. No, they have only one degree, but because they are the bhakta of the Bhagavan, they are the devotee of the Lord. Nasi jati vidyaha. So, to giving some example in our organization, see, monks monks come from different background. Some monks are very highly qualified, and some monk, they hardly went to school. So, but you might see the monk who did not go to school, like Swami Pranavananda ji, he used to say that maybe you see that Swamiji sitting in the temple giving Charnamrita to people hand, sitting one corner, while the other Swamiji, delivering lecture, delivering speech and then organizing this, that, they are noticeable, people can see them. But this monk sitting one corner in the temple giving just Charnamrita to people. So do you think as a guru, Swami Pranavananda as a guru, made any discrimination to his disciples and followers? No. Because guru know that guru and disciple, master and disciple relation, bar after bar. It is the part of the Guruji, he lift them, his followers and disciples, and make them God. So, Nastiteshu Jati Vidya. For a devotee, anybody come to this beautiful temple of the Bharat Sevashram Sangh in New Jersey, those who visited, you are fortunate enough to see such a beautiful temple. Simple, but it's so beautiful. I sit every day here, but mere sitting here, I feel so good. So serene, so peaceful, so beautifully arranged, and all the beautiful murtis, images we have in our temple. And those who visited, you are fortunate. Those who did not come to New Jersey yet to visit our temple, please make little time and visit the beautiful temple of the Bharat Sevashram, New Jersey. You will enjoy seeing the murtis in the temple. Nobody will ask you of your education or jati because you are a devotee of the Lord. Nastiteshu jati vidya rupa. Rupa means physical appearance. It's very important. These are the very important topic we're discussing today. In general, people like fair color. In general, a highly qualified people, a scholar from the Harvard University, and we don't know his background that he went to the Harvard University, one of the scholar of this university, but his appearance is very ugly kind. I mean, you could imagine, since we don't know him, his background, until somebody introduced that, okay, this is the gentleman, is one of the known scholar of the Harvard University. If you go here, there, maybe because of his appearance is not so good, and the people might not appreciate that. It happened. See here that our the Hanumanji. I mean, we make beautiful murti of Hanumanji in the temple, but Hanumanji is Hanumanji, and but he is known every morning. People chanting the Hanuman name, sometimes 1,000 times, because they believe that chanting the name of Hanumanji and fulfill their all wishes, and Hanumanji protect them also. That is being proved also. So, Rupa, make sure you don't do that mistake. We don't ask a devotee that count their kind of thing, good or bad thing, seeing their outside appearance. One of the best example is the Ashtavakra. There is no distinction based upon the appearance. Ashtavakra had 8 bends in his body. There was a saint known Ashtavakra, means 8 bends, twisted body. He was born like that. What actually happened, that Ashtavakra was not born yet. He was in the womb of his mother. So his father was reciting verses from Vedas. And Ashtavakra from the womb of his mother telling, Dad, your recitation is not correct. You're doing mistake. And the dad gets so angry, give him, what? You did not born yet and you correcting me? And so his dad gave him a curse. That's how he was born, 8 bends of twisted body. So now King Janaki invited all scholars of the, that time in the Eastern, what you call it, Eastern Asia. All scholars came. It was a big assembly of the saints and scholars, thousands of them sitting, and discussion is going on, Atma Paramatma. How we can realize this, how we can reach God. What is the easiest way to reach God? Those kind of, what is Brahman? What is the true definition of Brahman? What Vedanta teaching, the goal of human birth is to realize the self, Atma Tattva Kulabdhi. What is Atma Tattva Kulabdhi? What is self-realization? All these heavy topics, the saints and holy men discussing. That time, Astabhakra twisted 8 parts of his body, entering the assembly. Looking up at his appearance, the whole assembly of saints and holy men, everybody, gatekeeper, all they burst into laughter because of his appearance. And that's how there's a book called Astabhakra Gita. We'll be reading that book also. So Astabhakra, telling King Janaka, that King Janaka, I came to your assembly. I thought you are a knower of the soul, that you are an enlightened soul. But I did not know that you see the outer appearance. This body, what is this body? Is a bundle of bones, flesh, blood, and all these things. It's so temporary, so fragile, so changeable. It has no kind of permanence in this body. Like how the Bhagavad Gita say, how we throw the old clothes and take a new one. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihayo, navani grinnati naru parani, tatha sharirani vihayo jirnani, anyani samjati navani dehi. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihayo, navani grinnati naru parani. तथा शरीरानि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. ओम नमो श्री भगवते वासुदेवाय श्री कृष्णाय नमो नमः. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna at the battleground of Kurukshetra, Arjuna, how people throw the old cloth and take a new one. Similarly, people change the body, but we don't die. That is not the end of life. When this body is fragile, cannot function anymore, we abandon this body and take a new one till we reach the feet of the Lord. So, in no way we should be proud. Of course, we have to maintain our body. We need to keep ourselves fit. We need to think positively. We need to do daily exercise. We need to take the right food. We need to take proper rest in the body so we could remain fit. Why you should remain fit? To enjoy life in singing and glorification of the Bhagavan. The mouth did not talk of the God. The ear did not listen the wonders of the Lord. The eyes did not see the beautiful or heavenly appearance of the Lord. The skin which did not feel the touch of the Lord. What is the use of this mouth and the ears and the eyes and the skin? So, a devotee, we should not make any distinction of the devotees because of their birth, because of their educational background, and because of their physical appearance. Rupaha. Then, Kulaha. What is Kulaha? Kulaha means the lineage, the line you born. Like one Indian system, we call at the time of wedding, marriage ceremony, or if you're doing a date ceremony, or you're doing a home housewarming puja, or house enter new house, you bought a new house, you call a Swamiji or a priest to do house entering puja, or you're doing a yearly puja. So when we do the puja, we ask your Gotra. What is Gotra? Say Bharadwaj Gotra. Bharadwaj is the name of a saint. That means you born in the line of Saint Bharadwaj or Bhrigu Gotra. That means you are born in the line of Saint Brigu. So that is called lineage. You born in the Kula. And we are proud of that, this is the family I born. Like, for example, Indian people, they always say Bharatvanshi. They're born in the line of King Bharat. And that is how India got the name Bharat. So, but when you're talking of a devotee, there's so much example. You can see that with us, Tukaram, all these devotees, which school they born? There are hundreds and thousands of devotees all around the world in all faiths, whatever faiths people practice, whatever religious faith people practice, there are hundreds and thousands of devotees they born in. Just we don't know that they don't know their background properly. But nobody asks them which kula you are born. So we as a devotee of the Lord, we should never see our fellow devotees, those who love, because devotees has one identity, they are the bhakta. They're all the children of the Lord. They are the wonderful, loving children of that Almighty Father. And then dhana, the fortune, wealth, or their richness. Sudama was so poor, but Sudama is counted as one of the foremost devotee of the Lord. If you think that story of the Ramayana, when Lord Rama, just left Ayodhya for 14 years of exile with his younger brother Lakshmana and his wife Devi Sita, they spent the first night to where that guha. I mean, there's a story. I'm not going to that story now, but the first night Lord Rama spent to there. But he was not such a rich person. Lord Rama was a prince. He was born in a royal family. So richness, usually, our tendency in any temple, even I practice also sometimes, I should not say that a devotee donated a large amount of fund. So even now we're going through all the temples and churches and the non-profit entities are going through a phase of difficulties, like how many people are the business community also suffering at this hour of need. So if some devotee come or some rich person come, donate a large amount of fund for the organization, even sometime I might be kind of thing, but which I supposed not to do, because the temple is place for God. We all bend our head. We take our shoe out of the temple, we bend our head and go in front of the God, and we bow down to the lotus feet of the God, because in front of that Almighty God, all powerful God, all merciful God, our richness and our fortune is nothing. So the devotees, even Narad was not a rich person. Narad was a saint, but Narad was not a rich person. So we should not, create any distinction of the devotees who are poor or less fortunate, and we should not make somebody because of their fortune, by virtue they have a lot of money, and we cannot think they are the best devotee of the Lord. Yes, they support the non-profit causes. That doesn't mean they are the foremost devotee of the Lord. In our the religion, Hanumanji, Narad, all these characters we read, these are Sudama, these are not the rich people, these are the poor people, in fact. I mean, we use the less fortunate people in this world. So, Jati Vidya Rupa Kula Dhanaha and Kriyadi, kind of work a devotee doing. It's very interesting and kind of thing that a family race kind of thing, we already discussed that. A devotee's voice is the voice of God. What kind of work he is doing, that is not our matter of discussion. It's not a subject discussion, because everybody do their own profession. Say chamar, a shoe person who making the shoe. or shining the shoe. Because it's a family business, they're doing that business. That is how they support their family. It's a profession. But side by side, that he's a great devotee of the Lord. He goes to churches every Sunday morning. He comes to regular in the temple, sit down in the temple, pray to the lotus feet of the Lord. He support the temple causes. He help the fellow devotees of the churches or temples. And he's a great devotee. He love his Lord. So, Kriya, whatever work they are doing, that we should not think of. And so these are the very important topic we have been discussing today, that we should never make a distinction of the devotees because of their jati, the nationality, their educational background, their physical appearance, the line they are being born, they have fortune, they are wealthy or poor. We should not see those things. And also we should not think about what kind of work they are doing. That's not a matter of discussion for us. A devotee is a devotee. Bhakta is a bhakta of Bhagavan. They love his Bhagavan. And you know that one of the best example, and I don't, right now I don't remember the verse, that there was a time when Rishi Yajnavalkya was, Saint Yajnavalkya was leaving home, and he wanted to spend his full time in meditation and to improve his spirituality. So he wanted to, that leave his fortune to his wife. So Maitri, one of the most known women of our country, Mother India, she asked her husband that the fortune you giving, the wealth and property and the you giving, richness you giving to me, so is it going to, these things going to give me the taste of divinity? So her husband say, Maitri, that I love you because of the way you think. And no, Maitri, the richness or the fortune I'm leaving behind, it will help you to live comfortably. I mean, if you are in this country, you will say you'll be able to pay your bills timely, and also you'll have enough money for your own survival. Then Maitri said that, Lord, she was talking to her husband, Lord, if you think the fortune you living for me is not going to give me the taste of divinity, I don't want it. Please teach me that which will give me the taste of divinity. I will be able to see God in this human life. Can you imagine that Devi Maitri, was talking to her husband, these are the words. I don't remember the exact Sanskrit sloka right now. Maybe next things I will discuss. So, Kriyati Vedaha. So, what kind of work devotee do is, we should never do. Devotee is devotee. Always a bhakta is a bhakta. Anybody coming to the temple is a bhakta. Imagine that during the period of Navaratri or Durga Puja. Think of the Bharat Sevaswam New Jersey temple. Thousands of people all around, inside the temple, outside, in the land, parking lot, everywhere you see the people are, but we count everybody as the children of that Mother Durga, Goddess Durga, the mother of the universe. We all brother and sisters. It's a big family. If 6,000 people are around, is a family of the 6,000. We all children of that universal mother. More than that, I was in the last February, I was visiting Mauritius for the first time. I went to Mauritius for a preaching mission. I went to India. From India, I traveled to Mauritius, and then I was going to South Africa for 2 months. So I was 18 days, I was in the Mauritius. If somebody go to Mauritius, if you will see that there's a park in the middle of the city, it's written there, the world is but one family. Means that the whole world is one family. The world is but one family. This is basically a translation of a Sanskrit sloka. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Sorry, I remember now. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Vasudhaiva means this entire world is my family, my the relatives, my own people. The world is but one family. If that is so, the entire world, wherever, whosoever living in this country, everybody is a child of that universal mother, Goddess Durga. She is the mother of the universe. So we completed the sutra number 72. Let me go to the sutra number 73. Narada Bhakti Sutra, sutra number 73. It's a very small sutra. If you have book, if you see there, Yat Tadiyaha. That's all. Yatas Diyaha. Jatas Tadiyaha or Yat Tadiyaha. Because they are all his own. That's only two words in this sutra. Yat Tadiyaha. Because they are all his own. Means Saint Narad telling we should not do any kind of distinction of the devotees of the Lord because they all belongs to the Lord. Imagine when you visiting the Bharat Sevashram New Jersey temple, attending a kind of puja or ceremony. Say for example, Diwali day, Deepavali day, while the rest of the India celebrating the night of light, they lighting lights everywhere, welcoming Lord Rama's coming. The Bengal celebrating, worshipping Goddess Kali. That, fearful appearance of the Goddess Kali. So Bengal, all the Bengali community, they fasting almost all day for give to offerings to the feet of Mother Kali. So in evening time, all these devotees coming to our temple for the Pushpanjali or prayer to Mother Kali. So there is Mother Kali, image or murti in the temple. We all people sitting in the temple, in the Bharat Sevashram temple, we're looking at the murti of the Mother Kali, and we all like Mother Kali's children. The 700, 800 people sitting in the temple, we feel like we are all brother and sister. Our mother is Mother Kali. So that's how Saint Narad said, because they are all his own. Shashani jagiche, Shama ma. Shashani jagiche, Shama ma. Ontime santani nite tule kole. Ontime santani nite kole tule. Shashani jagiche, Shama ma. At the end of our long journey, and at the end of this battle of life, when we complete our all duties and responsibilities, when we finish the role we playing in this big stage, the part we do, in this big drama in this world, when we finish everything, we go back to our mother because she is waiting there to take us to her big land. Our kind, merciful, loving, caring mother is waiting for us. So, just the dhyan, every devotee belongs to God. Like how I'm using the prayer, Twameva Mata Cha Pita Twameva. So the other devotees coming from the other families also praying Twameva Mata Cha. Lord, you are our mother, you are our father. Twameva Mata Cha Pita Twameva. Twameva Bandhuscha Shakha Twameva. Lord, you are our friend. You are our best company. Twameva Vidya Dravinam Twameva. Lord, you are the goal of our learning, of our education. Dravinam Twameva. You are the best wealth for us. For us, you are the best wealth. Twameva Sarvam Mamo Devo Devo. Lord, you are everything to me. I live in this world because I want to serve you. I live in this world because I see you dwelling in each and every one in their heart. I live in this world I see you, you are in the green forest, in the sky, in the twinkle star, when the wind blowing, I feel your touch in my body. Oh Lord, I take the food because I want to survive so that I could serve you more. So devotees belongs to the Lord. They are the objects of his special love. Bhakta Bhagavan is such a wonderful relation. One small example. Because we are the monastic member, we're the member of the Bharat Sevashram. So it's natural that we talk of the Swami Pranavanandaji a lot because that is our Guruji. Because we are being taught this way that a disciple or a shishya, a follower, when they talk of their Guruji, glorify their beauties of their Guruji, when they spread the name of their master, their, the Lord. So with Guruji, their name also spread around. But if a devotee only talk about himself, it's not talking of his Guru, people look at him, okay, this monk is talking too much about himself. But the same monk, when they talk of the glories of their Guru, people laugh. So one day, one Swamiji was walking, went for some work in the Calcutta city. And Calcutta is known for Rasgulla, Calcutta sweet. It's a Rasgulla is so popular, kind of sweet in Calcutta. So one Swamiji was coming back from, after finish his work. He had money in his, for the ashram. And his eyes went to the roadside sweet shop. And he saw the rasgullas are floating in the, sweet juice. And he gets so tempted. The Swamiji thought the rasgullas are calling him that Premananda, come here, Premananda, come here. And he had money also, but then he thought, no, somehow control. He went back to the ashram. So Guruji was that time living. Guruji was, that in his room. The Swamiji went and gave all the money he collected and he didn't mention of the sweet thing. But same day, you could see how a guru act the role like a mother. He brought a whole tin of rasgulla and all the monks, around 200 monks, and Guruji sit in his wooden chair and, he see that every monk get 2 pieces of rasgulla. And that is how we say Guru is our mother. So devotees, we should never think, devotees, we should never do any kind of discrimination or distinction among the devotees, because devotees are the heart and soul of the Bhagavan, of the Lord. Saint Bhagavan Vishnu say, O Narada, do you know where I dwell, where I stay most of the time? Not in the yogi's mind, not in the this, where this, and the charity. I love to dwell in the mind of my devotees. So the mind of the devotees is the dwelling place of Lord Sri Vishnu. So devotees, the whole intention of this particular scripture we have been discussing last couple of, especially this time, it's like we're trying to take your mind in a different direction. And whenever you get time, so please try to nourish and develop kind of culture, a culture of devotion, bhakti bhavana. When you give something charity, give with the devotion. When you're giving food to your children, give with devotion, because your children is the gift of God to your home. Today in your home, after a while they will be gone. They will be going to their own, the place where they're supposed to work. And your children is a symbol of God to your home. You're giving to food to your husband or your family members or whomsoever. And do this with devotion, so that we practice devotion in even cleaning the room, carpet, cleaning the home. Thinking this way, this home is the home belongs to God. So like how Swamiji doing the vacuum cleaning in the temple. So I'm cleaning my home. My home also is the home of God, because there is an altar in the home. I have a special altar for, I have a prayer room or prayer place. I have gods in the home too. So this home also belongs to the God. So kind of practicing devotion, cooking something nice, or just mango came out in the market first time in the bazaar. First piece of mango before we eat quickly, offering to the Lord. So every step we practicing the bhakti, and in this way you will be surprised to surprised to know that one day you become such a wonderful devotee of the Lord, and you will enjoy your life. You could imagine, say that we went to the hospital bed to pray for somebody who never practiced devotion, who never thought of to practice devotion. We monk went there, or the Christian pastor came, or a Hindu monk went to say a prayer. I don't think it entered his mind, penetrate, because he did not practice it. He did not make it a habit to hear. So that devotees belongs to Lord. There is no distinction among the devotees. God acts, this is the part I want to read here. God acts the parts of a professor. Imagine what this commentary writing is very interesting, because we're telling the God is all pervading. He dwell every places. He's present everywhere in this world. So here I'm reading what is written here. God acts the parts of a professor, a thief also, a king, a beggar, a saint, a rogue, a genius. So God is everywhere. When I remember years back when I landed to, I think the LaGuardia airport, when I lost my briefcase within moment. So I was cursing the thief. I did not think, well, this is one of the, it's the best example. Recently I spent some money that it is your donation, of course. I buy some rose plant. I thought, every day I'll pick up some rose plant from my garden and offer to Guruji. So I buy, say, around how much I will say that 10 to 15, 16 rose plant I buy and I plant it. When you come to the ashram, you will see. So morning time, I went to see how the plant growing up. I see the deer and with the babies came, they eat all the parts. Not a single flower is there. So I get so angry, and they're sitting there. I could see the whole family sitting. I took a stick and ran after them. I will kill them today. But then I thought, this plant, the rose plant, I console my mind this way. This rose plant I planted so that I could pick a flower every day and offer at the Paduka of Guruji. But so the God dwelling in the deer also, the baby deer, they are so happy. I could see they're jumping, running all around the ashram. And Guruji did not want that I give that flower to his feet. Rather, he wanted let the deer family enjoy their meal. So that's how I console now I don't get angry anymore. Okay, you eat because this is your food. Now I'm going to another important subject today. This is the Sutra number 74. We have to keep this in mind, what we're reading here today. Badaha na abulamba. No controversy ought to be entered into. Badaha na abulambaha. No controversy ought to be entered to. Discussion is an intellectual luxury. In disputation, the true spirit of inquiry vanishes and the joy of intellectual gymnastics or verbal warfare takes its place. The disputant takes delight in overthrowing his combatant through the arguments and reasoning skill. But constructive reasoning is better. A devotee should accept the truth as an established truth. Criticizing the truth revealed in the sacred scripture will end the disbelief. So argument, a devotee should, sometimes people come here in the temple, I see. You expect a person entering a temple with folded hand, with humble way, bending the head in front of the God, and sitting down, kneel down and pray to the Lord. But sometimes you will see the people putting their hand behind, what is all this kind of thing? They want to enter to the argument. And so this argument, because of the academic skill, you can defeat a bhakta by arguing, by bringing a lot of topics and example, quoting from different scripture. But ultimately, you will not get the juice. In a book, if you cut piece, boil and eat, does not mean the whole Bhakti Sutra book, if you cut piece and make pakoda and eat, does not mean that the devotion will be developing in you. Devotion is completely different subject. The whole Bhagavad Gita, if we eat, do you think the Gita Rahasya, the deep inner meaning of the Bhagavad Gita, that Shwaswata, the eternal message of Bhagavad Gita is going to be, that blooming or will understand that? No way. To understand Bhagavad Gita, to understand the Bhakti Shastra, we need to live a Bhakti life. We need to be a Bhakta of the Bhagavan. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Lord, you are there, you are here. You are everywhere in this world. The person who is cooking is representing God. The person who is serving food is the representation of the God. The person who is putting the plate on the dining table is the representative of the God. The person who is taking that food, eating that food, accepting that food, also the representative of the God, because God dwells everywhere. So no kind of devotee should never enter into an argument. Vain discussion should not be undertaken by those who aspire devotion regarding the existence or attributes of the God. The duty of a devotee is to love God and to realize God, not to enter. Always, I remember when we were young brahmachari, say 20, 25 years of age. I remember one time, myself and one, we used to wear white dress. There's a place in New Delhi called Safdarjung Enclave, near to the Delhi lawn tennis ground. So me and another brahmachari, we were waiting for the public bus, public transport. So we're talking among us in the Bengali language, kind of thing. Even though we were young, but we were thinking we need some printed material so that we could explain to the people who is Swami Pranavananda is. Because people know Bharat Seva Samsam as a philanthropic organization. They do a lot of charity, they do a lot of seva. But hardly any people know the founder of the Bharat Seva Samsam, the great founder and one of the most known, a great yogi of the Mother India, Swami Pranavananda. Hardly people know. When you read the life of Swami Pranavananda, doing meditation hour after hour in the Bajitpur cremation ground, 14 days, he's surviving on the juice from the bay leaves. When he coming out of his room, his face glowing. The Guruji say that the Guruji do not eat meat, fish, eggs. He eat only thin dal and potato boil. So the person came and talking to him that that time Guruji was known as Brahmachariji, Vinod Brahmachari or Brahmachari Vinod. That if you do not take the meat, fish, I do understand. Why don't you take at least milk? So Brahmachari Vinod, Swami Pranavananda, here his answer. He says, sir, the power Guruji gave me by, if there is a whole bottle of a pot, regardless how much you put food or water or milk in that pot will be empty. First, we need to, stop that useless wastage of energy. And Guruji say, by taking simple dal and potato boil, the power I have in my body, I can give a kick to this wall and breaking right now. And his face was glowing. He could see his body, his muscle, such powerful, spotless. Nobody can find out one spot in the life of Acharya Swami Purnavandiji. I'm writing his life story every morning. So I could see Guruji's he spoke very little. He did not write any book, but he created this Sangha. Hundreds and thousands of monks and volunteers and people are involved. Millions of people working for this organization all around the world. So this is how Badona, Guruji never, imagine a person came, one example. The person was a Arya Samaji missionary. Arya Samaj is part of the Hinduism. They believe in the teachings of the Vedas, but the Arya Samaji people do not believe in the image worship, Murti Puja. They do not, the practice that in their temple. It's one form of Hinduism. It is Hinduism. Like if you come to our temple, you will see lots of images and murtis in our temple. But if you enter Arya Samaj temple, you don't see any murti there. So one Arya Samaj missionary, Swami Pranavandaji, went to a Hajaribagh, a place in the Bihar state, for missionary work. So when he came to the meet Acharya Swami Pranavanda, he saw there's a small altar outside and his picture in the altar. So the gentleman gets so angry. I heard the monk of the Bharat Sevashram say educated monk. These are the modern monk. They went to the university. They're educated monk. And they're still worshipping this. They're doing the Murti Puja. So he said that let me meet their founder. Please listen, it's very interesting. The person was angry and very he wanted to argument. And he thought he will defeat the founder of this organization with his, the word. So it was the law that one person can enter one time, not a group of people enter in the Guruji's room. So gatekeeper was a Swamiji. So he moved one side and allowed the gentleman to go. The gentleman only just put two hands, two sides of the door. Inside of the Guruji's room, it was dark room, there was only earthen lamp. The gentleman see a Mahajogi with thick curly hair, matted hair, a big body, glowing face like a burning fire, sitting on a seat made of the tiger skin. And there was a trishul. So the gentleman was so scared to go inside. So he don't know he should enter the room or he should come out of the room. He should run away from there. But somehow Guruji pulled him and the gentleman went inside. No argument, not a single word. He just fell down at the feet of Guruji. No communication, no argument, no communication. Guruji did not spend not a single word. The gentleman entered silently, fell at the feet of Guruji, came out of his room also silently. So this is how we learn from Swami Pranavandaji life, speech control. That if we don't need to speak, we should not speak. So, Badaha not avalambaha. Vain discussions, heated debates, end is hostility. When arguments fail, people take to fighting. Discussion entails wastage of energy and time. It is only mere verbal warfare and intellectual gymnastics that is being practiced in argument. Nothing substantial is gained by thereby. Everyone wants to show his pedantry skill in argument. Such a Pandit cannot dream of getting darshan of God. He is very far away from God, but a little divine talk can be had between devotees. So, in summary, that Saint Narad requested or gave advice to all devotees of the Lord that we should not enter any debate or argument regarding the existence of God. God is there. He was there, he is there, he will be there. This world is his outer manifestation. If you remember the chapter 11 of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna giving the description, oh Lord, I see your thousands of hands, thousands of eyes, thousands of head, thousands of mouth, thousands of feet. Your body is glowing, all the sun, moon, stars, known and unknown world. I could see in your big body. You occupied the entire world by your infinite body. So when first I used to read the Bhagavad Gita chapter 11, I used to think, how could be 1,000 hands, thousands of head, thousands of eyes? But now, after all these years of experience, I realized that your eyes, your hand, my hand, his hand or her feet, everything belongs to God. Thousands of people, thousands of hands and eyes, all belongs to God. Many hands, many eyes, many feet, all these they reveal the strength, valor, endless power of the God. So a devotee should never enter to a heated discussion. And this will be the conclusion of this today's, so hopefully we'll finish quickly. I'm going to the sutra number 76. Very beautiful. This is the last sutra I'm reading in today's discussion. Bhakti Shastrani Mononiyani. Bhakti Shastrani Mononiyani Tadbodhaka Karmani Karoniyanani. Bhakti Shastrani Mononiyani Tadbodhaka Karmani Karoniyanani. For the attainment of bhakti, the teachings of scriptures that promote devotion should be constantly meditated upon or studied. I read again. To develop devotion, the teachings of scripture that promote bhakti should be constantly read and meditated. And the action that arouse devotion should be performed. So that means a devotee, I remember when we joined this monastery in 1976, we had a habit to read the newspaper. So head monk, he came one day, he took the newspaper from my hand. He said that, Baba, don't read the newspaper. So I was doing arguing with Swamiji, the newspaper give the present, what is going on in the country, so I could know. So Guruji said, the big Swami said, no, you don't need to read the newspaper now. Now I understand why he told. He gave me the books related to the Guru, books related to the life of the Guru, the Acharya. So he said, read all these books now. Even now, every day when we read the Bhagavatam, we read the Ramayana. So a devotee who is trying to develop bhakti in him should read the scriptures which promoting bhakti. Here, some of the examples, especially in Hinduism, the most important books, that is Ramayana. Ramayana give the examples of bhakti, so much of there. Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, Srimad Bhagavatam is like a ripe mango fell down from the tree and it just juice coming out. That the way it tastes, Srimad Bhagavatam tastes like that way. Shuka Mukha Patitam. The Srimad Bhagavatam fell down from the mouth, came out from the mouth of great Rishi Shuka. Was only 16 years of age. He taught Bhagavatam to the world. Full of devotion. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. If you go to the chapter 18 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tell his disciple Arjuna, Sarva dharmane parityajya mame ekam saranam brajo. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha iswammasvacha. Arjuna, don't bring too much of that argument, minus plus to your head. Don't fill up your head with the garbage kind of thoughts. Mam ekam saranam brajo. Hold in me alone and perform your duty. Failure and success, victory or loss, ups and downs, sadness and happy time is make us more mature, more strong. It helps us to move forward more. So Mam ekang saranang braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayasami. I will remove all the papa you thinking you committed in your life. Ma shucha. Don't be sorrowful. Don't worry. I'm here to take you, to hold your hand and take you to the other shore of life. Mam ekam saranam braja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayasami ma shucha. So bhakti shastrani mononiyani. A devotee of the Lord who is trying to develop bhakti, those who are disciple of a particular guru, please read the guru's life. Mold of your life according to the commandments and teachings of your guru. Like how we always reading the Swami Pranavanandaji's teaching. Swami Pranavanandaji, when you come to you hear Bharat Sevasam do a lot of charity, but side by side, see inside how monk living their life. You see how they early morning doing puja, doing meditation. Like that Swamiji came with me, Swami Devapanji. I see very early morning he's waking up, going to the temple, going to the garden, picking a flower from the garden, cleaning the altar, putting. I could see he's taking his time. Sometimes I get irritated. Why Swamiji is taking so much time for puja? Because my time coming to go for exercise is my time for exercise, but he's taking his time, putting chandan at the paduka of the Guruji, taking his time to do arti, singing and doing arti. So these are the inner story of the Bharat Sevasam. Guru Bhakti. Dhanamulam Guru Murti. Guruji say, meditate on the appearance of your Guru. Puja Mulam Guru Padam. Do puja to the feet of your Guru. Mantra Mulam Gurur Vakyam. Mantra, the hymns and prayer, the commandments and teachings of your master, of your Guru, is the hymns and prayer. Moksha Mulam Guru Kripa. The liberation, attainment of moksha, attainment of nirvana, attainment of emancipation, whatsoever, is all depending on the mercy or blessings of the Guru. Jnana Shakti Samarura Tattva Mala Vibhushita. Guru represent Jnana Shakti Samarura. Jnana and Shakti. Power and knowledge. Jnana Shakti Samarura. Tattva Mala Vibhushita. All the argument and philosophical discussion we do all end up in Guru. Tattva Mala Vibhushita. Bhukti Mukti Pradata cha. Guru give bhukti means the things you want to enjoy, the matter of the objects of enjoyments is Guru give bhukti. Mukti, Guru give mukti also, moksha also Guru give. Tasmai Sri Guru Abhinama. I bow down to that lotus feet of the Guru who give objects of enjoyment plus liberation from the bondage of life. So I'm going to finish. Let me finish the last part of this. Tadbodhaka karmani karanyani. Narad said, perform action which help you to develop a devotion in you. You can bring the argument, Swamiji, you have to do so much thing in home. How all action could be developing devotion? Yes, we can do anything we do. We're doing gardening, we're doing the office work, we're going to do business, you're going to do cooking, or you taking your children to the school, dropping to the children to the dance class or music class and ashram. Whatsoever we're doing, all action could be Jat karushi jadasnasi jajjushi dadashi jat jat tapusyashi kaunteo tat purusha madarpanam. Hey Arjuna, oh Arjuna, whatever you do, whatever you meditate, whatever you do puja, whatever action you perform, and whatever offerings you do in my name. So that was the kind of thing. So tad bodhuka karmani karanyani. So the Narad say the teachings of the scripture that promote devotion, we should study those kind of scriptures. And here also there is some other Shandila Sutra, Shiva Purana, Devi Bhagavatam, Narada Panchatatram. There are so many books, especially in the Hinduism. There are so much Bhakti Shastras. I'm sure in the other faith, because people practicing different faiths and they have their own Bhakti book, which helping them to develop devotion. Make sure devotion do not make us fanatics, because there is so much example of that. You have devotion, you love your guru, you love your particular god. Say that you worship Mother Durga. If somebody come who love Lord Krishna, then you don't like him, don't do, because that is called fanatism. Bhagavan, one Bhagavan, people worshipping in different name and different forms. Like one water known as water, pani, or jal. Similarly, one God known in different names and different forms. One potato can be boiled, can be served as boiled potato chips. We can make tarkari or vegetable with the potato. We can make pakoda, potato pakoda also. So the same potato serving in a different way. Similarly, one God appearing or being worshipped by the people in different places of different countries in the world in a different way. And so that make sure whatever work we do, all work should be dedicated at the lotus feet of the Lord. So let me do a prayer for everybody, and then we conclude today.
Yeah, one second. Swamiji wanted to add two more nice slokas. It may be Swamiji knows well. Jenaham amritasyam pinaham kimakuriyam. And another, yes, it is right, Swamiji?
Yes.
Yeah, another slok is Nametishtanti Vaikunte Bhaktanang Hridayana cha Amadbhaktra Yatra Gayanti Tatra Tishtami Narada.
Yes, that is also the slokas from Bhagavad Gita. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you very much for coming to joining our class. So let me finish here today with this prayer. Om To Shanti Antariksham Shantihi Prithvi Shantihi Apo Shantihi Ushodhaya Shantihi Vanaspataya Shantihi Visse Deva Shantihi Om Shantihi 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 Hari Om.